Hey, how's it going, internet? It's your boy Tidler. I'm doing this stupid video that I spent way too much time thinking about how I wanted to do it, and then realized, if I actually wanted to go super in depth, I don't get paid to do this, so there's no point putting in the effort. And then I thought I was gonna do like a one take audio recording of this, and just kind of go from there and be like, ah, ha ha ha, I'll edit in the photos. And I thought that's still too much effort for how dumb this video is. So we're not doing that. And we're using this silly little overlay in a VTuber model to pretend some effort was put into it. So what is the point of my video? The point of my video is we're gonna, give fake scores because I'm too lazy to do a tier list at the end of this based on how long it took for Zelda to appear on these Zelda game boxes. Just kind of, you know, checking the history, seeing how often is Zelda on these game boxes. On a series titled The Legend of Zelda. Things are to get pretty interesting. So we're gonna kind of do this off the cuff here. So we're gonna start off with our. So basically, what we're gonna do is I have the Zelda wiki, not the crappy fandom one, open, and we're gonna look at all these PNGs or JPEGs or WebPs or whatever they are. Okay, and then depending on what I remember from my high effort portion of this video, we are gonna I'll make those notes. So we have a Legend of Zelda North American box art. There's no one on the box. There's only the word. So we get the Zelda's name is on the box category right here. Now we got the classic series re-release. Kind of cringe. I don't like how this was redone. To my knowledge, she's not on the back of these boxes. Now we're gonna give the Famicom Disk System, the original release. We're gonna give this a -1. We've got Link on the front, no Zelda, and to my knowledge, these games did not have a back. Now we have the Famicom cartridge release, which is basically more or less a port of the international version back to Japan, because for a while they weren't making cartridges and they were all on little floppy disk thingies. So you do lose a couple of sound channels there. Here we have a pre-release box, which is doing what the Zelda, the Nintendo games did back in the day, where they put in a screenshot. Except Link's kind of looks like he's smiling here. Look at that. He kind of looks like he's smiling. I don't think he's supposed to do that. He's supposed to be sad forever. And here we have a pre-release bit here. There's not one, but we got two links, so this is a double negative. Not back into positive, just a double negative. Now we have the Game Boy Advance ports, which I think these were actually just emulated, interestingly. With whatever minor changes need to be made to the script. But otherwise, it was just emulated. Really, this is just imitations of these back boxes here. Nothing too special. And in Japan, they had special little boxes, I guess, designed to look like their original boxes inside. Origin of our TV games. Interesting. So now we're going to jump to The Adventure of Link, Zelda 2. Possibly not even a Zelda, on the box. Her name is on the box, but I don't think it's part of the title necessarily. Maybe. I don't know. I'm stupid. There's no Zelda on the front here. There's no Zelda on the back. That goes for this. And this game just doesn't have a back in the Famicom Disk System. Now, jumping to the Game Boy Advance version, we're going to have Zelda on the back of at least the American box art by nature of having a screenshot in the palace. I believe that extends to the European, but that is not the case with the Japanese. Excuse me, that's not the case with the Japanese. However, this is a re-release from like 2004, 2005-ish, so around the time of the Wii, as opposed to, like our 96, 95 dealios, 96 dealios we got going over here, 96, 98, something like that. So now we're jumping forward to 1991. We have a couple of variants here. What the crap? Okay, so we have A Link to the Past, American. She's not on the box here. We have the Player's Choice re-release, which weirdly has a different background. Also not here. She's not on the European. She's not on the German. She's not on the French, because I guess the French hate women or something. Now we're going to the Swedish Gold Pack, which you would think, because it's a special edition, they would have it. They even have Zelda's name on there another time. There's even another time right there. This is just a guide. Otherwise, it pretty much uses the same backing for the box. This has a piece of tape on it. Cringe. So now, we have the back of the Japanese box. This is actually our first instance of Zelda on a Zelda game. She's on the back of the Japanese box only. And you'll get to see that artwork later on. So now we're jumping forward to, I believe it's 2003, 2004, whatever year. When did this game release? I don't freaking remember when this re-release happened, but this is A Link to the Past plus Four Swords on the Game Boy Advance. Unlike Zelda 1 and 2, this was a recompiled version of the game and was an actual port. It was along the vein of the like Super Mario Advance and the Kirby Nightmare and Dreamland remake of Kirby's Adventure going on here, and it included this multiplayer mode, Four Swords. Now, Four Swords 1 is disqualified pretty much. I'm just gonna say it now. All of the box arts are more heavily leaning into the Link to the Past version of this game, as you can see here. I forgot about one thing, actually, I'm wrong. But on the back of the Japanese box, there is Zelda because she appears in a screenshot for A Link to the Past, which is pretty good so far in our series. However, it's only the Japanese versions of A Link to the Past she's on the back of. And just now for Four Swords, I'm going to give that to A Link to the Past over Four Swords because it's the Link to the Past portion of the game. And Four Swords Anniversary is disqualified because it was a digital-only re-release. So now we're going to Link's Awakening. American. This is just the Link to the Past box. Lazy. This one has an owl on it. We spiced things up a bit. Still kind of lazy. Europe. Lazy. Oh, Europe Classic. Uh-oh, we got a Mario. Still no Zelda on this box to my knowledge. Now, we're jumping to the Japanese box. We got a girl on the front. We got a girl. However, this is not Zelda. This is Marin. This is our Zelda-adjacent character, because my understanding is that Marin is the spoiler alert for Link's Awakening, by the way. So you see that egg? That's got a whale in it. Some sort of winged whale god thing. Kind of looks like the dude from Skyward Sword that you fight the parasites out of. Spoiler alert for another 10-year-old game. Another game that is over 10 years old, not another game that is 10 years old. Nor am I saying this game is 10 years old. But yeah, so we have Marin. She's basically the dream interpretation, who I think is made from like Link's memories, I guess, of Zelda from Link's Awakening. I mean, A Link to the Past. So she is our Zelda adjacent / parallel Zelda character on the box. So we got a point for A Link to the Past, but that's like a pity point more than anything. Go to the Chinese box. We're reusing the artwork. She's almost getting Mike Wazowski'd here. So I'm going to, take away a quarter of a pity point. This bundle, this is an interesting new piece of artwork to my knowledge. This still doesn't have Zelda on it, other than her name. Here we have the French one. I'm going to be honest, I think I forgot to Google that one. I don't think it has her on here. This is a neat piece of artwork. Link, you need to wear pants. Now we're jumping forward to Link's Awakening DX. This is a re-release, released around the time of Ocarina of Time, where they added color to the game, in addition to a couple of other changes. Pretty much just the same thing here. The European box is black. We have another European box. This has got our color dungeon. And now we have a new piece of Marin, who again is our Zelda parallel character. So she doesn't quite count. And the Switch games, newer games basically are pretty unified. These do not have Marins on the box. That's pretty lame. No Marins here. No Marin. No Marins. Here's the Dreamers Edition. This included the art book. As a side note, everyone didn't like the way this game looked. I just kind of felt like it was the Game Boy game, but like visuals in 3D. I thought they were a pretty decent conversion of what it looked like, for better or worse. Zelda also just isn't in this game, so this game is kind of disqualified for her at all. Now, this is the European Limited Edition, which is the exact same as the American Dreamers, except it included a Game Boy-themed steelbook, which I think had a map of the original game. The original game's, like, Game Boy map on it. So there's no Zelda in that box art either, if it counts as a box art. And here's the Japanese version. So now we're jumping forward to Ocarina of Time. So this is, I believe, our first instance of Zelda actually appearing on a non-Japanese box. But we're not there yet. This is American. She's not here. From what I saw, this is the collector's edition, also different. I don't know which ones had the gold cartridge or not. but we got all these awards. Cringe. It was one of these European boxes. Zelda is on the spine in red. It's her child artwork. So I'm kind of counting that as on the box, but it's not even like just the back of the box. It's vaguely on there. And I don't think the spines for Nintendo 64 games are as important as like the 3DS and Wii U spines. I kind of wish the Switch spines actually did the little icon thing. Here's the Australian box. I forgot this place existed in my earlier research, by the way. Japanese box. We got Link on a horse, so we have a girl now. But no Zelda. I don't know why I have to, like, do this. Anyway, so here we have the Chinese IQ player. Now, what the IQ player was, is this was Nintendo's, Trojan horse into China. Basically, this little goofy controller thing here, I guess had a Nintendo 64 inside of it. And it included a manual for Ocarina of Time. And I understand that was a pack-in game for this. However, the manual has a box, but that reuses a different piece of Ocarina of Time artwork that we don't have here. But I don't think the game itself has a box. I could be wrong. This calls it box art. I understand this is a poster. This is kind of high quality to be in screenshot thing. But I understand this is like a poster or something. So I could be wrong. I watched unboxing. It wasn't there. But also the way the games work for the IQ player is they work similar to the Famicom disk system in that you had flash cartridges instead. I also totally forgot another Zelda game here because they don't have it here. I'll get to that in a second. Is you have the Famicom disk system and this, which had its flash cards. You go to a store, write your game at a kiosk, and you could also get a manual, I guess. What I've seen, the games didn't have boxes, so this port, I think, is technically disqualified from having a box art. So even though we have Zeldas here, we have 3 Zeldas, I'm gonna disqualify it. And if someone else knows better, call me a doofus in the comments section. Anyway, so going back up to the Super Nintendo era, there was another add-on that no one ever talks about for the Super Nintendo called the Satellaview, right? And basically, you could get little flashcards to write the games to, and you could download them. And one of the weird things is that they were like on a broadcast schedule, and you could only play the game so many times, but there were like 4 Zelda games released. We basically got like a shortened 16-bit version of Zelda 1, which is playable like 3 times, I think, plus however many times the cartridge lets you play, but it was only available during certain times. And then there was like the BS Legend of Zelda Ancient Stone Tablets, which was like a 3 or 4 part episodic game, which was more or less a non-canon sequel to A Link to the Past. These are disqualified because they just did not have boxes. We don't care about, like icons or whatever. We're looking at boxes. If it's not a box, it doesn't count because we like physical media on this channel, as I refer to myself in like a non-specific third person. So moving on, we got our Ocarina of Time GameCube releases. To my knowledge, none of these have Zelda on them either. How did you get this piece of crap? You pre-ordered Wind Waker. And as a bonus, they gave you Ocarina of Time and Master Quest, which was basically the prototype of what Majora's Mask was. And if you don't know that story, basically, they were going to make another floppy disk-based freaking add-on for the Nintendo 64, which they did, and you had to, like, rent it. It's a whole freaking weird story, and maybe I'll go into it one day. But they wanted to make an add-on for Ocarina of Time. And it was really weird, because they were like, we don't want it just to be re-releasing, like, new... I don't freaking get what they were getting at, but they wanted to reuse their Ocarina stuff. So they had them, like, remix the dungeons. I'm gonna take a sip of this root beer I've got sitting here. Anyways, they were gonna remix the dungeons, and Eiji Onuma was like, I don't really want to do that, assuming it was Eiji Onuma. He's been the director for a while. He was like, I don't really just, like, want to remix the content, but Nintendo was like, well, we're not really remixing the content. It's like, I don't freaking know what you're... They were like, look, you don't have to make this if you can get us another game in a year. And basically that spooky, trippy sequence at the beginning of Majora's Mask was this guy's nightmare. And that's why we have Majora's Mask now. So we still had to make this piece of crap. But you pre-ordered Wind Waker. You got Ocarina of Time and Master Quest, which was harder. Now, if you want to, play this on official hardware without tracking down Ocarina of Time for the GameCube, which I don't know if it's even that expensive, uh, if you have Ocarina of Time 3D, you just beat that and you get a mirrored version of Master Quest. So now we have the Japanese box art for this and the Korean one. They're about the same. No Zeldas to my knowledge. Now we get to Ocarina of Time 3D in 2011. This is like 98. This was 98. This is like a 13-year jump or something. I don't know. I don't do math. So she's not on the front of any of these versions. However, at least on the North American, one of the screenshots has Zelda as Sheik, and then I believe the other regions have Child Zelda on the back talking about the 3D. Or it was she's not, but she's on the pre-release box art, which we have like right here. I take that back. We don't have a pre-release box. That's on the other cringy wiki. There it is. She's on the back of this, I believe. Ocarina Edition, no. The American system, no. The friggin' 2DS edition, no. Now, Zelda, aside from a cameo, is not relevant to Majora's Mask. And to my knowledge, she's not on any of the box arts for any of the original releases. And I don't believe the IQ player has Crimea or Romani on it. However, they are all on the boxes of friggin' Ocarina of Time 3D. Majora's Mask 3D. So this gives us like a three things removed character. So we have Crimea and Romani, who are a parallel universe, like a split parallel universe version of Malin, who is based off of Marin, who is the dream alternate reality interpretation of Zelda. However, Malin exists in the same universe as Zelda, but is just like based off, like not like in universe. She in real life she's based off of Marin, who is based off of Zelda in both real life and in the canon of the series. However, as I don't know, it's just kind of a convenience that there are two redheads in the Zelda universe that look kind of similar-ish, maybe. But yeah, so Malin and Romani, Crimea and Romani, split parallel universe version of Malin, who is a reinterpretation of Marin, who exists in the same in Zelda. So Zelda and Malin are the same universe, or whatever. It's weird. I don't get it. And I think there's also like 3 Malins, by the way, because she's in Oracle of Seasons, I think, and she's in Minish Cap. And then Crimea and Romani are only in Ocarinas, in Majora's 3D. But this is the box art and all of them. That's the closest we're getting here. These are system box arts, which are here. This was apparently because they couldn't do an amiibo, so they just made a figurine. I tried to pre-order this. I showed up and the Target had freaking 2. I didn't get it. I was like 4th or 5th in line. So now, this is pretty interesting what's going on with the Oracle games. In that Zelda is in the Oracle games, but she is not in the Oracle games by default. And if you're unfamiliar with the Oracle games, this is not a Pokemon situation. This is a situation where Capcom was like told to make multiple games. So for all intents and purposes, they are both different sequels to Link's Awakening. However, there is a decent number of items, like main dungeon items, that are shared. However, the overworld, story, and dungeons of the games are all unique between each other. And then once you beat one of them, you can go and play the other game with connectivity to the game you just beat in an extended story to where the game you are now playing is the sequel to the game you just played. So Zelda will only appear on your like linked game save file in the post game or whatever, the post new game. I don't know what you call that. However, on the back of the Japanese boxes, there is half of a Zelda. And then when you flip them over, you get a full Zelda when you put them next to each other. And that's what I understand here. These are not mentioned here. Also, fun fact, it's really freaking hard to find full scans of boxes. This is the limited edition. I couldn't find anything other than like a partially open box in this thing. So this is the same stuff for Oracle of Ages. It's all about the same, just color. I think like Moosh and Ricky appear along the spines and on the top or something, but those aren't Zelda. So now we're going to Wind Waker. And so we have American Wind Waker 1, American Wind Waker 2, American Wind Waker 3, European Wind Waker, European Wind Waker 2, and then Japanese Wind Waker. So Zelda is not on the front of, or really, she's not on like the Western Wind Waker boxes. However, she is on the back of the Japanese Wind Waker boxes as Tetra. And now I could get into a whole diatribe or something, or pretend I could, about how we don't really know what Zelda's like legal name is in Wind Waker. We know that she is Princess Zelda. However, her name that she primarily uses is Tetra. So for all intents and purposes, Zelda could just be a title. However, we know from other stuff that Zeldas are actually named Zelda, and all that jazz. But also, we don't have any paperwork, and the government might not even technically exist in this Wind Waker. So it would just be whatever you call yourself. So there's no like on paper thing, and that's my point about Wind Waker. So we might not even technically have a Zelda on Wind Waker. So now we have our Ocarina of Time release. Same thing here. Now here's where Zelda gets a little dirty, and they decided to cheat on Zelda, and they put another woman on the box from an entirely different series before they put Zelda on the front of the standard boxes. What the crap, my guy? Because I want to remind you at this point, Zelda has not appeared on the front of has not been just a standard front of box appearance for the game so far. We're in 2002 at this point, and she's still not on the front of these boxes. She's on the back of a couple, but she's not on the front of a main series Zelda box yet, okay? That's to remember. And on the ones she does appear on, there's like a 50% chance it's not even her. Her alternate universe and adjacent characters are appearing on boxes. I take that back. The triple double adjacents aren't yet, because that was a re-release, so it didn't count yet because we're not there yet. We're not there yet. Anyways, European Limited Edition with Master Quest. This is a slipcover. I'm going to count it. This is our earliest recorded instance of Zelda just on the front of a box, I believe, for a main series game. That's an important thing to remember. Main series. We're going to go over the other games too. Master Quest edition here? No. Also, no. 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 Basically, none of these other ones here you see, none of the GameCube bundles that to my knowledge have her on there. We have two links, and there's a Metroid Prime there. Now we jump to Wind Waker HD. Here's where things get interesting. She's on the front of Wind Waker HD as Tetra on every version. So here we have the earlier print Wind Waker HD, where in America, that had an interesting thing. There was like a 2-week delay. They released it digitally, and then 2 weeks later or something, they released it physically. And the earlier physical print copies had a gold. So everything that's gold here was a gold foil, which is pretty cool. And then every later release, so they had American prints that used the colored cover art. That were not Nintendo Selects, which is basically just the European and otherwise international art. These all have Zelda as Tetra on the front. The limited edition North American reuses the artwork from the limited edition European slipcover. However, Zelda has moved to the side of the box. Interesting. Also, a guy that got sued by Nintendo for pirating their games conveniently won one of these in Australia. And here are the Wii U bundles. I think there are a couple of Tetras on here. Yeah, we got a Tetra. And it included a downloadable version of Hyrule Historia. Collector's Edition. What was Collector's Edition? Basically, if you could order it through Nintendo Power, or certain GameCube bundles included Collector's Edition, which had Zelda 1, Zelda 2, Ocarina of Time, and Majora's Mask. In addition to a 20-minute playable demo of Wind Waker, which was released shortly after Wind Waker came out, plus a series history video. Apparently they had, I haven't verified this because it's something I read 10 years ago, supposedly they were going to include a link to the past on here, but they decided not to. So also, another interesting point, aside from being able to play the 64 games at 480p, um, even though they were emulated on the GameCube. They did make a couple of minor changes. I don't know if the Stone of Agony got a different graphic or not, but the menu A and B buttons were recolored from green and blue to red and green, so that because I have to think, I don't remember what they look like, but I believe A is blue on the 64 and B is green, but on the GameCube B is red and A is green. So those match up with the buttons, which they didn't have to do that, but it was pretty cool they did. She's not on the back of these. Here's a Double Dash bundle. Not here because it's Double Dash. Who cares? Now, we got Four Swords Adventures. There is a Zelda in this game. She's not on the front of this. She's not on the front of the re-release. She's not on the front of this. Japanese box art. She is on the Japanese and Korean versions because for some reason they decided to include a game mode exclusive to these regions called Tetra Trackers, which is in 3D, and by extension has Zelda on the front. Here's a console bundle that included a cable, I think, or something. Minish Cap. No Zeldas to my knowledge. No Zeldas to my knowledge. No Zeldas to my knowledge. I wonder how many more times I can say that. Oh, system. No Zelda, though. This is just a box. A real-life box. Twilight Princess. To my knowledge, she is not on the front or the back of any of the original 2 releases for the Wii or the GameCube. Pre-release box, it looks kind of cringe, to be honest, and that photo was cringe. However, Twilight Princess... Oh, I didn't even realize that was different. What is this one? What? For real? Did I never notice this? Did I never pick up on this? Am I stupid? I have this game, and I don't think I put together that the box arts are different, where it's not just a recreation of the original box art like they were doing with their remakes for at least like the home consoles. But yeah, so this is the American one that I guess I didn't look at. She's not on the front of there. My bad, I'm stupid. She is on the front of this. Zelda's on the front of every version of Twilight Princess HD. Here we go. So yeah. So we have Phantom Hourglass. I don't believe she's on the front or back of any of these. Excuse me. I burped. So now, here is our piece de resistance or whatever. It's freaking Spirit Tracks. It's Spirit Tracks, okay? So I had the number of days, like years, months, days down. It was like, I don't remember, I'm stupid. It was like 14 years, 9 months, and like 28 days, I think, maybe. If I remember this off the top of my head from like a month ago. This is the first game, and the only game, where Zelda is just on the front of every version's, like every region in every version. This is like the first time it happened. It took until 2009 from 86 for this to happen. And I am really stretching my definition because it's Zelda possessing a phantom and it's got the pink eye, so I guess that's how you can tell. But even then, you could argue she's not there because it's a stupid suit of armor on the American release and the European limited edition. It's probably on the back. I didn't look. I was lazy and gave up at this point. So now we're jumping to Skyward Sword. Really quick. So the Australian, Japanese, and Korean box arts have her on the front, right here in this part of the screen. See here? And this extends to Skyward Sword HD because they reuse that piece of artwork. However, for the regular, like these other, gold print releases of Skyward Sword, she's not on the front. For all but the American, I believe, she is on the back of the box through a screenshot. Now we're going to do this thing, if I remember properly. So Skyward Sword, 25th anniversary game, needed a Wii Motion Plus to play it. So, to help alleviate that, I guess, and as an excuse to sell it, I remember at the time, it was like 20 bucks more for the special edition, and that was the price of a Wiimote back then for some reason. I don't know why, or they're just trying to get rid of them. So, if you got I think it was all the first print, or just earlier print copies of Skyward Sword included a soundtrack selection from the Ballad of the Goddess symphonies they were doing at the time. So the box was different, so it could have a little flap to hold the disc, and then you got the box art. And then, these had this little, tag on them. Later releases used this box art, which doesn't have the tag denoting that it has a CD, because it obviously doesn't have it. And the box would be different to presumably not care that. I haven't checked, but I'm assuming they didn't include the piece of plastic there. And then we get to the North American Wiimote bundle here, right? So this is a bigger box. I lost mine, but it's like, okay, you have this little tag saying you get a Wiimote, you get a CD, bigger box, right? On the back, the screenshots are different, and it uses the same set of screenshots as like the European box art, because the standard American box arts do not have Zelda on the back because they use different screenshots. However, the bigger special edition box has Zelda on the back because they used a different set of screenshots, which is kind of weird, but whatever. Also, for some reason, the Japanese one, I guess. Oh, I guess they did have two bundles. They had a white Wiimote bundle. I don't know why you would get this. This is stupid. This is boring. Why would I want a standard Wiimote? I want the gold one. Anyway, Skyward Sword HD, yada yada yada. I already went over this. Link Between Worlds. Oh crap. Yeah. So all these box arts are about the same. She's not on these, to my knowledge. However, the game British Limited Edition has two Zeldas. I'm going to count this a little bit more directly as two. Uh, so we have Zelda Standard. We have Zelda Standard. And then we have Hilda, who is explicitly an alternate dimension version of Zelda, which is different than Marin. I'm just going to counter Zelda, because Marin is someone who is similar to Zelda and has her alternate dimension counterpart. But Hilda is like more parallel to Zelda. So yeah, I'm gonna count this too. And if you really want to be weird, the DLC they mentioned here is apparently it just included a digital download for Link's Awakening. So maybe if you wanted to, you could also consider this a Link's Awakening re-release, which I'm not going to. However, that does kind of put Link's Awakening at having like the most, like, I don't know, like weirdly having Zelda on. I said no, I said this is Link's Awakening. I was thinking of Link to the Past when I says, but this is Link's Awakening it included. Yeah, so maybe, but I wouldn't really count that because they're calling it downloadable content, which is technically accurate, but this game itself doesn't have DLC. Anyways, here's a system bundle. This thing looks freaking cool because the bottom half is black and the top half is gold, and you got the two Triforces. Oh yeah, they didn't frick the AC adapters, and what? Europe didn't include the AC adapters? What the frick is wrong with them? Triforce Heroes. This game doesn't take place in Hyrule. I don't believe Zelda appears in the game, and she's not on the box. It's in Hytopia. You can wear her clothes, though. Then we get to Breath of the Wild. To my knowledge, no Zeldas on any of these. Wii U or Switch version. Oh, I forgot. I think she technically... Get the frick over here. We have this beginner's guide. No, this isn't it. So she's not on these versions of the game. She is, however... I don't think they... Do they have it here? They do. She is on the Japanese Season Pass version by virtue of them going, hey, look, you get this too. So I was wrong 2 seconds ago. Special editions, I don't think she's there either. Tears of the Kingdom, she's not on that. She might be, spoiler alert. I don't know. Maybe she is. I guess she is. Not as Zelda, though. So Link Faces of Evil. No Zelda, to my knowledge, unless she's hiding in here, but I don't think she is. So then we get to 94 and Zelda the Wand of Gamelon. This is the first instance of Zelda appearing on a not a main series, but this is the first instance of Zelda just appearing on the front of a Zelda game box. It took the freaking Philips CDI one extra game, 2 games total, to do what it took Nintendo freaking like 14 years to do. Okay? Almost 15 at that point. I'm stupid. I said 14, and that was 2009. But, like, Skyward Sword came out 2011, was the 25th. My point is, it took them over 20 years to do it, so I'm stupid and don't know how to do math. Anyways, that's here. She's on the front. Zelda's Adventure. She's not on the front, but she's in a screenshot on the back. Also, in case you don't know, so these two games here play more as... I've seen a little bit. They basically play a little bit more like Zelda 2, and this is more like Zelda 1. Link's Crossroad Training. My knowledge, she's not in this game. She's not on the back, and she's not even in the title. Currently, our worst scoring game. Oh, I guess same thing for Link Faces of Evil, but she's at least in this game, I assume. We Zapper bundle. So basically, of the 3 different versions of Hyrule Warriors, she's on the front of every single one. We have that game's one. We have the console bundle with her. Hyrule Warriors Legends, you have Tetra, freaking, what was it? You have, why did I think there was a third one? Am I stupid? You have Tetra, you have that Zelda. Oh, that's, what the frick am I thinking of? Am I stupid? Yeah, oh, that's what, yeah. So basically, it's you have that game Zelda and you have Tetra on every version except for the limited edition where they move Tetra to the side with Toon Link. And then for Legends, for Definitive Edition, you get this game. Where the frick is she? You get that game Zelda. You get Tetra. You get Marin, who I'm quasi counting here. So yeah, we go to Cadence of Hyrule. Crypt of the Necro Dancer. She's right there on all the boxes. Hyrule Warriors, Age of Calamity, right there. And that's the limited edition. I don't freaking know how long this video took me. Oh yeah, side note, she is technically on the box, I believe, of every Smash Brothers game starting with the Melee. However, she's only on the front of Melee. All the others, she's on the back. I've been ranting for a hot minute here. I'm going to just upload this video as is and see where it goes. It took way too long to do this, and I really hope this is recording. It is. I would have lost my mind if it wasn't recording audio.